Hello everyone, welcome to another installment in the First Impression series, and today we are going to be looking at the new record from southern rock band The Almost, Fear Caller. And some background on The Almost. The Almost are a southern rock band, and they are known as the side project from Under Oath drummer Aaron Gillespie, and Fear Caller is the fourth studio album from this band, though it's not really a band at this point. It is a solo album from Aaron Gillespie because he is the sole person making this album, and this album came out on October 22nd, 2019. For his latest album, Gillespie found inspiration in the desert. He said, "I have romantic affinity for the desert. There are so many untold stories and hidden truths, the beginning of our thoughts and our existence as people happen out there. For me, it was a cathartic experience. It was something I've never done, and I needed to get out there with the ghosts and see what would happen. I'm continually striving to be more honest in terms of my feelings, my music, and how I deal with things." And then he continues with, I'm talking about each subject as vigilante. These stories are individual experiences. It's truly the most honest I have ever been in song." So this sounds like it's going to be the most personal The Almost record to date, and it is a follow-up to the highly acclaimed 2013 album, The Fear Inside of Our Bones. So let's see how this comeback album stacks up. Now, with all my reviews, we're going to quickly look at the artwork, and as always, the artwork is just for fun, and it has no bearing on my overall enjoyment of the music itself. Now, the artwork features a dark brown background with a gold outlining jackrabbit. It looks a bit like a book cover and reminds me a bit of Watership Down. This cover would honestly be very perfect if it weren't too dark. What I mean by that is that it's kind of hard to make out the jackrabbit unless you kind of squint. So that kind of is something that does prevent me from giving it a perfect score. However, I do like it, and it does do a good job of portraying the sort of context of the record that is to come when you pop in the disc. So it's probably, this cover is going to be an 8 out of 10 from me. Now we're going to go into the song, starting out with the opening track, Chokehold, which has compressed drums in the verses, and the vocalizer in the bridge is odd. But the final chorus does have a lot of weight here, and a key lyric here is, "I come alive in the darkness, I come alive when I'm honest." The second song here is I Want It Real, which has a very strong lyrics from the opening line of, "Searching through the masquerade for something, someone to take the hate." Great timing with the percussion. There's slightly compressed guitars, and it has a very muddy sound. Then you have track 3, which has a rumbling bass, strong groove, and there's a sax solo here, which is something I bet you wouldn't expect to hear on a southern rock album. And a key line here is in the chorus, which is, "You can't eat a ghost and you can't tame a lion." And Life is the 5th track. Well, it's okay. I do have to mention the really good lyric of, "Act sad as I want it and something free happens." And then you have Think I Am, which has, again, more bass groove, and the guitar sounds very twangy here. And then you have the track after that, Ain't No King, which has very strong percussion and a strong chorus with the line, "You ain't no king, you just avoid broken wings." You have a U2 cover here, which sounds pretty solid. It has gritty vocals and some pretty punchy drums. And then we enter the more slow side of the album with I Won't Miss, which has a more somber and western feel. It's a slower song, very melancholy, with a line like, "Love is a terrible price to pay for company." Fear Caller continues that somber tone from I Won't Miss, and the album closes off with Why Do You Bother Me, which features some guitar plucking and some strong progression here, and the line, "I can't believe in myself, on and on my soul's haunted, you made me your accomplice." Overall, this is a very melancholy record. It is very bass driven. The bass feels like the backbone of everything, and the bass definitely is something that drives the rhythm forward, with the guitars taking a more more atmospheric route here. They're doing neat things here. There's also a more intimate feel with this record, and it's definitely a record that commands you to just focus solely on this and not be focused on anything else. It's just something that you have to be focused on completely, and it does a good job of that. The slower songs and when are the album at its best, and there's just a lot of awesome stuff there. The drums, I will say, at points are a little too punchy, but that is not a big deal. And also another thing is that there are a lot of interesting things going on throughout this record, especially since there's a lot of times where it takes a more psychedelic approach to things, especially with things like that jazz solo or some of the tracks on the first half of this disc. And also, this does feel like a pseudo concept record, since there are some overcarrying themes throughout this entire cycle, such as pretty much all the songs mention something along the lines of a piece of land, like I'm standing on a piece of land, there's a hole in my piece of land, my piece of land is, whatever. It's just pretty much every single song references a piece of land. There's also a few songs that are more, like Aaron said, they're more personal. A lot of songs mention lines like I'm just a drummer, or sort of that reflection of himself, like either they're sad or it's just filled with so much self-hate. It is definitely a very reflective record. It is definitely very intimate in its sound. This is a pretty solid record, and it is definitely a good comeback record. And it is one that I will definitely recommend if you're into sort of southern rock sort of thing, or if you're just looking for something new under the radar from this last week that came out recently in music. And I'm going to say that I would have probably, because there's a lot of really in-depth stuff that I couldn't cover here, a lot of interesting things going on in certain songs. However, I couldn't come back to them as this is a one listen review, and I'm kind of already behind on a few things, so unfortunately I couldn't dedicate a full-fledged regular review on this. However, this is just something I wanted to go ahead and talk about, so at least you can all hopefully enjoy this album if you have never heard it. I'm going to be giving Fear Caller by the Almost a 8.5 out of 10, giving it a tier of excellent. And my three favorite tracks on this album were You Ain't No King, I Won't Miss, and Fear Caller. I almost listed the previous album by mistake there. But what did you think of Fear Caller by the Almost? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, I want to thank you for taking your time out of your day to watch this video. And I hope you all have a great day.